but a pleasure to have you joining us today.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Helen, and good to be able to connect with everyone virtually. Of course, it's different when you're trying to talk on a Zoom call, so I don't get to see the audience, but I hope everyone is okay. Let me try and share my screen, and then we'll get started. Right. Okay, let's start with a short video. All right. My name is Shashank, and I lead a team of phenomenal solution experts who bring the best of our ad solutions in Google for our Northern Europe business. If last year was all about understanding AI and what exactly is this all about, and we heard a lot about it this morning as well. This year is really more about how do we apply it, and what I'm going to do over the course of the next few minutes is to try and see if I can bring to life how Google AI is being applied in the ad space. And probably that's closest to heart, so easier to kind of demonstrate how we are bringing the whole power of AI to marketers and advertisers. I think the starting point of any such conversation, I think, should always be about the consumer, right? I mean, if you think about consumers today, the consumer journey and the surface access that consumers have only add more complexity for a marketer. In fact, one of the interesting stats is that more than 15% of daily searches have never been searched before. Now, the interesting thing is that this 15% number has almost been consistent for the last decade, right? Which shows that human curiosity is limitless, and it continues to drive innovation and continues to drive how we bring the best of information and insights to consumers who search. Um, that said, if you translate this into what does that mean for consumers when they look for products, when they look for information, when they look for brands, is that they want all their information, they want offers, they want discounts, and they want anything that marketers are bringing to them which is aligned to their interest, right? So the bar, so to speak, I think by consumers is pretty high from all of us. But the additional angle here is that they also demand privacy. It needs to be done in a privacy safe way. It needs to be done in a way that customers and consumers feel that they are in safe hands and then they can trust the brand. Now, if I take a step back and think about this and the context that we are living in, this is an emergence of a new value exchange, right? Why do I say this? One, because on one end you have data influx that is coming in, based on consumer behavior, based on, how we are capturing data in a privacy safe way. That's where customers are saying, okay, I'm willing to share my data with you in a consent way, of course. And then you apply technologies like AI on top of this, and it creates a new form of value exchange. And I think that's the interesting, phase that we are all in at the moment. So, in that context, if you think about how AI is now going to be supercharging the entire advertising life cycle, it's evolving quite dramatically. If you take a step back and you think about there was a time when you would take months to build creative assets, you run campaigns, measure results, go back and see how things are performing, optimize it again, and then bring it back. That entire process today can be further accelerated more efficiently and effectively using AI. And I think that's what Google is trying to figure out as to what the best way that we can bring that, using AI technologies. And I like to think of it in a very simple framework, right? Think of it in context of media, creative, and measurement. These are the three cornerstones, and we heard a lot about it today already in the first part of the discussion. But essentially, if you think of it from a business standpoint, at the end of the day, in all my conversations that I've had with customers over the last year or so, there is definitely a need for growth, but it needs to be done profitably. So there is a very clear expectation from customers that yes, we want to grow, we want to continue to get share, but it needs to be done profitably as well. And I think that's where the combination of growth supported by scale and effectiveness, I think, becomes super, super important in terms of how we bring the entire ads business to life. Um, Let me start with the first piece that I just spoke about, the three anchors, right? So the first anchor being measurement. Um, I, I think that the powerful aspect of digital marketing and how it is consistently evolving is the fact that you can actually provide good measurement and accountability back to the organization. In all conversations with CFOs or CMOs, I think that's the number one piece that everyone looks for. And therefore, I think measurement becomes an extremely important aspect of your entire ad strategy. And without a solid measurement foundation or a measurement infrastructure in place, it becomes difficult to evaluate the effectiveness of AI or any such investment. Um, if I link back to some of the data points also called out earlier on, it's very clear that there is a there is a need and there's a desire to move forward into AI, but there is always this piece of saying, okay, we need to test and see how things go. We need to see whether it is effective or not. And I think that broadly comes under the umbrella of measurement. It's super, super important that you get that right. The foundational part of measurement, of course, is going to be about data, right? So AI is only going to be as good as the data you put into it. Your connections with your customers is a competitive advantage, yes, but it is predicated on very strong data foundation, consented, durable data, right? The moment you get that infrastructure right, you can then build on that. In Google, the way we think about it is the um, the idea is that you need to ensure that measurement is done in the right way. And there are ways in which you can go about doing it. I'd like to just give a small example here, not making it too technical. But essentially, the way we think about it in Google is across four dimensions. From a very simplistic way, it is one is how do we ensure that you establish site-wide tagging? Part two to it is use features like enhanced conversion to make sure that the accuracy and the durability of the conversion data is correctly done. Migrating it to Google Analytics is a nice way to ensure that you're optimizing that data and understanding the whole customer journey in a privacy safe way. And in markets where consent becomes extremely important, ensuring that consent mode gets implemented, make sure that you're able to then connect with users in the right way because the consent is now available for you. So this is more like a framework to think about measurement and how you collect durable data in a way that you can then utilize it to connect with your customers in the right way. Maybe a small example here is of North Face, where and North Face is an interesting company. Companies like North Face I connect with quite well because they are quite into all adventure and outdoor gear and things like that. North Face had an interesting situation where they were looking to, of course, improve conversions, etc. And they used Google Tag to try and understand what kind of search terms were customers typically using. And they found that customers were using different kind of term to describe parka, right? For example, it was being called winter parka, it went to being called winter puffer, and so on. And then eventually a new search term came up called midi parka. Now think about it. If this was not tracked well in the system, it would have been difficult for North Face to understand, hey, why is it my where is it my customers are actually searching and how are they connecting it to the brand that I have. By just understanding that and implementing it back into their search terms, and then connecting it to the right brand and the right product on their website, they were able to improve their conversions by 3x. The reason I wanted to call this out is because this is a very simple but a very personable and a very powerful way to leverage consented and durable data to map user choices in the right way. So the first part of which we spoke about is around measurement. Two questions to ask your team, right? A, how are you collecting and protecting first-party data? Super important. Two, how are you using that data to inform your next marketing campaign, right? So what is the applicability? What do you understand from the data? And then how are you using it to inform your next marketing campaign? Let's talk about the next pillar, which is media. On an average, data shows that confident consumers are more likely to want to buy again. It's about 6x time. Now, what is a confident consumer, right? Confident consumers are those who can have trust in your brand. They are those that no matter which surface they travel on, they're able to understand and connect to the assets that you're bringing forward. I think we all know as marketers that I think our North Star is that how do we bring the right ad to the right person at the right place at the right time and give the right ROI as well, right? So I think to be able to do that confidently and to be able to ensure our consumers feel very confident about wanting to buy again, we need to understand how they are leveraging the different platforms that they are operating on today. So let's think about this. If I talk about it in Google context across our different properties, if you look at a property like YouTube, today you have 1 billion uh, views per day. You have 700 million hours of content being created. You have 50 million permutations of search ads being shown every single day to users, and billions of searches. Now, why is this crucial? This is crucial to understand because these are the different surfaces, they're different platforms with unmatched scale that consumers are getting access to. The question is, how do you use that? So one such example of this is a campaign type called Performance Max, where what we are essentially trying to do is to bring forward the power of this entire inventory that is available across multiple surfaces that Google has, and bring it forward to your consumer. And that's the power of being able to leverage your media across multiple channels. Now you power that with a search, with AI powered search, and then suddenly your scale and your opportunity to engage with users across multiple surfaces multiplies. And that's what we call the power pair. A good example of that was with a financial services company known predominantly for its credit card business, looked to improve their checking account business, brought together Power PMax as well as Search, and delivered 53% more conversion. So numerous such cases, but essentially the moot point I'm trying to make here is, how do we ensure that the media available across different properties, leveraging the power of AI, how do you make sure that you contextualize it and bring it forward to your customer? So two questions to ask your team again. One, what AI-powered campaign solutions are you testing, and how do they perform compared to your manually managed campaigns? And two, once you see results, how are you going to scale your AI-powered campaigns? I think both are equally important. I think in the first piece, we spoke about how do you leverage the data in the right way. I think in the second one, we're talking about how do you keep testing these solutions, because test and learn is extremely important in the way you can then really leverage the full power of AI. And then the final leg is creative. We spoke a lot about creative as well. I think in the last few sessions, you heard about the power of creative. Pretty much all presentation talked about how important creative is being seen in ensuring that the brand positioning, the market positioning, the performance marketing, everything works as per what you're looking at for your business. I think if you think about creative from an asset perspective, where is the drain today? You're trying to build multiple creative assets across different surfaces, different products, and different use cases. With AI, you now have the opportunity to actually take a hero asset and then pretty much scale it across different surfaces, different platforms, and different products. It reduces significantly the drain on your creative resources and then allows creative resources to really do more strategic work. Um, it's a very, very important part of how you leverage AI at scale. And I think creative is going to be increasingly probably the cornerstone of how AI is going to be leveraged in the future. If I take an example of vertical assets, today you can use an existing asset, trim it, deploy it across different platforms and different services. If I look at PMax, we just spoke about PMax some time back. How do you think about bringing generative AI in PMax? And you can see here, as the slide shows you, you can actually, with a few clicks, create an asset, give the right information that you require, give the right brief to the ad, and the ad gets created, including all the assets at one go. Now think of this at scale across properties and think about the efficiency this will give back to you. If you remember the wheel that I spoke about around growth and efficiency, this is a very, very clear example, and it's actually being brought to life as we speak. The important piece here that I want to call out is that if you get this right, our data shows us that 6% more conversions is there to take. Now, this is the reason I'm calling this data point is that these are low-hanging fruits, right? These are areas that you can go and get started with immediately. Leverage it, test it, see how it goes, work on the protocols that are required, and then apply it into campaigns and see the magic what AI can do for you. But we are not stopping there. What we are also looking ahead is to say, hey, how do we take this to the next level? And I'll give you 3 examples here. One is we have a tool called Imagen 3, which is looking to say, how can you convert text to images? We're looking at Music AI Sandbox, which is essentially an AI-powered tool where you can create music pretty much on the go. And then you have VO, which helps you create videos on the go as well. If I take a step back and think about this in the context of creators, imagine giving this entire power to creators. It's pretty much giving AI, to creators in their back pocket. But what does this mean for us as marketers? With better AI capability being given to creators, that means hopefully better relevant content. You saw even content creation is a big part of what all customers seem to be calling out. Great content, created by creators, better viewership, better leverage for your brand, right? And I think these are just examples of how AI is going to be continuously evolving in the space of ads and marketing. So again, 2 questions to ask your team. How are you using generative AI in the creative process to generate assets? And how are you using AI to scale creative across devices, platforms, and across key formats? So I think these are the 3 primary, I suppose, anchor points for you to keep thinking about. And this is something that we are deeply investing in, deeply understanding. We are learning as we are going in engagement with our customers and with partners, and continuously bringing that feedback to improve our solution that we can, we can build on the power of AI. I just want to conclude this segment by saying, at the end of the day, you are the marketer, and AI is the enabler, right? I think there is probably one of the finest moments we have right now where we can leverage a technology as profound as AI to really bring great experiences for your customers and consumers, and do it in the most efficient and effective way possible. I think it would be a bit remiss if I don't specifically call out the importance of ensuring that AI needs to be made helpful for everyone. I think that's one of our ethos, and that's the way we think about it, because AI, as we all know, is a technology that can go either ways. And therefore, it's extremely important that we think of it in context of making it helpful for everyone. And in fact, our CEO's vision for AI as an AI-first company was actually laid down in 2016. And we look at it in context of investment, research, and responsibility. I think you probably got a bit of sense about investment and research, but I think responsibility is extremely important to talk about, because at the end of the day, you want to build an ads ecosystem at speed in the AI-first world, but you need to do it in an extremely responsible way. So I just wanted to conclude a little bit with that thought, that as we continue to innovate and evolve and bring the best of this technology, I think it's incumbent on all of us that we do it in the most responsible way possible. Yeah, and I think that brings me pretty much to the end of what I wanted to just talk through a little bit today. We are very excited about how you will use these solutions for your business in whichever field you're in. I actually think that when we look back, we will look at this particular phase as a dawn of a phenomenal, uh, you know, time for marketing, where we gained confidence that every dollar we spent actually worked very well. We delivered on the promise of scale, so we reached out, we leveraged scale in the right way for our customers, and then most importantly, I think we build great trust with our consumers and customers. And I really hope you make the best of it and you enjoy this phenomenal journey ahead with AI. Thanks again for your time, and thanks for participating in this great debate.